I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and these are the quarterfinals of the 2025 Portugal Carcassonne Online Championship. You can see all the pairings on the board. 2 quarterfinals happening today right now, and the other 2 quarterfinals matches are happening tomorrow. Before we jump into the matches, which are starting in 2 minutes, I'm going to give you a brief introduction of the players. Maybe before we need to talk about the tournament format a little bit. There were, first of all, multiple open qualifiers for the tournament, several Swiss stage tournaments, Swiss type tournaments, so we don't know the exact total number of participants, but it should be a few dozen. Then the playoffs from the top 8 finishers of the tournaments, but actually the top 2 tournaments from each of the 4 qualifying tournaments will now meet in this year grid. Our first pair is João Margarido, the captain of the national team, and one of the strongest players in Portugal, is definitely a master with nearly 17,000 games under his belt, peak rating over 700. Current rating in the mid 600s, and he'll be playing against Sílvia Lopes with his queen name Sisi, who is an expert. Her peak rating is over 500 and has 600 games behind her belt. So João should be here a considerable favorite, but Sisi is also a member of the national team. She had appeared in 11 official matches, which is quite a lot. Across multiple tournaments, of course, World Team Carcassonne Online Championship, European Team Carcassonne Online Championship as part for Team Portugal. Then the second quarterfinal is going to be between one of the newer players, Licinio Fereira, who already achieved an expert rating. And I say that they're newer, I mean that they're newer for the team, of course. They have been playing this game for quite a while. Over 8,000 games of experience, but they will be playing against none other than sportr, that's Ricardo Araujo, the reigning champion of Portugal, also happens to be the champion of Portugal in 2019, and in 2020 he won the Mind Sports Olympiad, the first online event. So again, there should be a clear favorite in each of the matches, but we've seen upsets before many times in this game. And the first quarterfinals are starting. A reminder to all of you that, as usual, this is a best of 3 format, so we will be witnessing at least 4 Carcassonne games today, hopefully 6. Sílvia has herself the starting player advantage and already 8 points on the scoreboard. She's the starting player here. She is going to finish a city, Meeple Road, which goes through her opponent's city. João here has 0 points, but has this lovely farmer over here, 2 completed cities, a bunch of green squares, a 3rd completed city waiting to happen, 2-point road looking to turn into a 4-point road, but most importantly, the main assets of green is the 5-point monastery, which now becomes a 6-point monastery, because look at this, Sisi actually does not really have any good squares to continue to start a new city. But wait a second, I take that back. I think it's a misstep here from red. Of course, she should have started a new city over here, not in her opponent's field, and also exerting some pressure against this here square. But João would have gotten himself the dagger regardless, and chooses to drop a 2nd farmer straight away. A decision which I do like, because there's so many opportunities to expand this farm in the future. For example, this here green square is going to help quite a lot. This here placement I don't actually like. I think it would have been better a little bit over here, trying to exert some pressure on this here straight line. João with the dagger again. He could go over here and start a new city and continue his road. That would, of course, let Sisi's meeple into the field, but I wouldn't be too concerned with it. And João responds with something very conservative, doesn't start a new city, simply finishes the one that he already had. And yeah, I would have really preferred the other move. So first of all, João would have had an open city cap, which would have allowed him to continue a city like this. And second, he, I think, overestimated the insecurity of that city. Because normally you don't want to open cities like this. You don't want your opponent to be able to place a straight line and start blocking your meeple. But if red were to have done that, this would have opened an attacking platform for green against this here city of red, which is staring here menacingly with 2 shielded tiles. Now Sisi is going to continue her city. A tad imprecisely, if you ask me. It was a little bit better to go over here, actually, at the bottom, to start pressuring this monastery a little bit, and for a couple of other reasons. First of all, it would not have allowed these here shenanigans, but okay. Red here is going to add points to one of her cities, I assume. Hi, Glavier. Hi, Helge. Helge is asking, are you sore in your brain after yesterday's marathon? And the answer is yes. I appreciate you asking. It was honestly a little bit too much, even with the help of Elias at that time of day. 9 Carcassonne games in a row, like 9 serious high-level games Carcassonne in a row. It is quite a lot. So, and if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, then go watch yesterday's 5-hour stream of the bronze medal match and final match in the Chile National Carcassonne Online Championship. In the meantime, back to this, João manages to finish his monastery whilst also creating additional pressure on this here square. Sisi gets herself a long road back for 7 points. This, of course, brings in this farmer over here. And look at João. I was actually going to criticize him a little bit for being overly lax with this here city. Yeah, I think this was a bit risky for sure, but fortunately he gets himself the last starting tile that allows him to permanently block this square, and Sisi now misses big time. So this here move is clearly a miscount. She thinks that she's protecting the square toward the starting tile, only not to notice that all the 4 starting tiles are gone. It's quite a common miscount, like the starting tile in particular. So first of all, when 2 tiles are close nearby, 2 tiles of the same kind are close nearby, it's possible not to miss them. And second, when there's a green meeple on one of the tiles, it's possible to miss it as well. So, but I wonder now, is red thinking to this day that there's one of those starting tiles remaining for the completion of the city, or has she now realized her mistake? Because it will also influence a lot of the game decisions later. She's now blocking the city of her opponent, but she got her own city blocked. There's actually 0 tiles that fit into the square. So this is how unfortunate this mistake was. She spent a tile on defense instead of going over here and finishing the city for 4 points. And one might argue that it was better to finish the city for 4 points and get the meeple out of harm's way, even if were a starting tile available in the deck, just because you don't want to have this guy blocked for 1 point. This position, despite Sisi having an advantage in meeples, should in most scenarios be strategically lost for red, because she's down to the scoreboard. This blocked city is going to give her 6 points, but it's just enough to equalize the scoreboard. Well, maybe there is a little bit of something. So what can Sílvia do here? So first of all, she can finish blocking this meeple, or simply hope that she draws the last rose tile that fits into this square. Surprisingly, there is only 1 single city cap that fits there, which is quite interesting. And another thing that she can do, she can basically avoid fighting for this here field. These two farmers have now been connected, and they're scoring 15 points, right? For 5 completed cities. And there are not that many green squares anymore, so maybe the field is not going to expand. Actually, there are 0 green squares at the moment. And maybe then Sisi can build her own things. There's still a sufficient number of city caps to start to counter field in another area of the board. And of course she could draw some monasteries, that's also a biggie. There are not many good squares for the monasteries, but there's one for the road monastery. And maybe even building something here is not such a bad option, but we can see that João gets the first one. And he chooses to discard it. For him, it is wise, because it is not in his interest to build monastery clusters, because he already has like the overall leads as a result of the field, and he does not want to stay with just one meeple for a prolonged period of time. But this is a fantastic tile for João to go over here, score 5 points, 2 to the city, 3 for the road, and even have some additional chances of finishing this here city. And Sisi cannot do nothing much about it. She chooses to finish the city on the left. Yeah, this here guy could turn into a threat a little bit later. João's trying to block it, and now Sisi gets a blocking tile of her own. So this tile obviously goes here. Yep, she knows this. This is done in order to trap this here meeple of just 4 points. João, of course, can extend, but most importantly is that the city points are not going to be doubled, and the green guy is not going to see the light of day. What does green do here? Probably takes him 3 quick points. I think not here. I'm going to explain why in a second. I think we take them somewhere here and we turn the city cap outwards. Perhaps this is the most precise move that I can see. There's some other options as well. This one I like the most. It's the most low variance endeavor. The reason I want to leave this here square open is because there's still 3 road Doritos available, and we could score 3 points from them. And look, João agrees with me like to the T. And you might want to have reservations about your opponent going over here and scoring 3 points. But from green's perspective, your opponent already needs the road Doritos to continue her city. So it's typically advantageous to make sure that you need a particular tile in just one place, but your opponent needs the same tile in 2 places, because then they're going to need to choose and they will not be able to do both. Unless, of course, they draw multiple Doritos, which is always a possibility, but a lower probability possibility. And speaking of road Doritos, and the fact that Sisi is behind a little bit on the scoreboard and on the field, like she needs to start cooking up something soon, because she can't just keep waiting for the road monastery for this square or for this square. Like, there has to be something more in this game than this tile. And she could, of course, start a new city here on the left, going for a counter field. And if she chooses to start a new city, then I believe that this here is the single best square on the board to do that, not any other square, not this one, not this one, not this one. But if I were her, I would have gone over here on the right and tried to build a 6 or even 8 point city, because 2 out of the 3 remaining road Doritos have a shield on them. So I think it could have been nice, but I also understand her idea that she might not want to commit to a road Dorito because she already needs a road Dorito over here. And her decision does pay off. She equalizes the scoreboard, starts a new city, and most importantly creates a counter field over here, which she is more likely to claim, but João is the first on that field for 6 points. Sisi, of course, is going to finish the city and drop a farmer at some point, but not right now. Not a great tile for Sisi, because monasteries are wonderful, but on this board, there are just no good monastery spots at all. And there's only one monastery remaining, so that we can't even hope for a cluster. What can we do? We can go here, perhaps. This is the best move that I see, because it makes our city slightly safer. It basically makes sure that our opponents cannot go over here and block it. Actually, this could work out very well. So let's say we go here, our opponent gets one of the 2 remaining straight lines and goes over here. Then we get the Dorito to go over here, and suddenly our opponent gets the last straight line, and he's not able to go over here because this square will be restricted by this monastery. So this is how you can get a value from this tile. Actually, now that I think about this, is it crazy to meeple this monastery regardless? I think it's a little bit crazy. And Sisi agrees. I have to say I'm actually quite impressive with some move that she's finding. So some of these more subtle decisions, like the choice of the square for the new city, the monastery defense move, is not normally things that players rated around 500 are able to find. So that's nice. But as I said, of course, her peak rating is much higher than that. João was now trying to restrict her city a little bit. Well, it's not so much a city restriction, actually. It is just making sure that red cannot go over here with the city cap and drop a farmer. So this does not restrict the city that much. It just takes away a farming platform. João, now with a very smart move, kind of leaving an empty city cap in his field, which really only he can claim because Sisi needs to take care of this here city first. And while we're at it, he's also eliminating 2 field connection opportunities. 3 quick points for Sílvia at the top. And JMargarido now takes 2 points, whilst also creating a bit of a threat against this square. Not that it matters that much, really. Sisi extends her city. Now we're probably going to see some sort of restriction, but it actually is not going to work, because there's still a splitter tile available. So regardless how Johnny puts this tile over here, Sílvia is going to be able to draw a splitter and finish her city. So João chooses not to do that at all. Just builds up his city, and his plan now is just to outrun anything that red can build in the near future. A strategically important decision for red right now. She can do several things. She can try to build her city, which I don't think is a good idea. She can take 3 points over here, and then also build up this here city to claim it in the future, though I'll doubt it is actually possible. Or she can go over here, continue this here city, and maybe even drop a farmer, trying to connect over here either through the road monastery or through the 2 remaining curvy tiles that are still in the deck. Honestly, this move is the one which I like the most. On the other hand, maybe we do this first, and then we hope to get a shielded Dorito, which we can use here and drop a farmer. Sisi does decide to take 3 points. She's again 4 points ahead on the scoreboard. João with a straight line cannot do something much. He chooses to continue an attack against this here city, and a great tile for Sisi, the splitter. Many options available. She can just finish the city and not do anything. She can finish the city and drop a farmer, perhaps. She chooses to not do anything, but I think I would have dropped a farmer because I believe there's still one city cap in the deck, if I'm not mistaken. I think the one remaining city cap is one dagger. Yeah, so since Sisi is still behind, despite being ahead on the scoreboard, João just has a lot of stuff on field. And of course, there's 3-point road as well. So basically, since Sisi is still technically behind, I believe she needs to start conjuring something up, really. Yeah, I would have liked the city cap in the other way and a farmer. Because the game is approaching its end, there might be not enough time to deploy more meeples. And actually, whilst we're at it, let us do some calculations. So Sisi is ahead 12 on the scoreboard. This here 6-point city equals this here city. João just discards a monastery because he only has one meeple. Sisi gets a scoring tile. She can get herself 2 points in 2 possible locations, here or here. Or she could go here and maybe drop a farmer, trying to connect through one of the remaining curves, sorry, or the last remaining straight line over here. That actually looks like a more solid move. Yeah, 9 points investment, almost guaranteed for a meeple. Yeah, there are indeed 2 curves. I was just doubting myself for a second, which I should not have done. Yeah, there we go. Farmer, very nice find here from Sisi. Margarido, of course, draws the first curve, finishes his road, which was there for ages, so much so that I've nearly have forgotten about it. And Sisi can now make it 50-50 for the game, a move which she can make quite painfully to her opponent is to go over here for 2 points, drop a farmer for 3 more points, and then have a 50-50 chance of drawing a curve and not only connecting to the field, but also overrunning the field. And she does it, and I think this is very smart, because even if she were not able to get a curve, she could get herself a monastery to go over here, either for 3 points and further expansion of this here field, to get this here little castle in her field, or for a 7-point monastery, but a 7-point monastery is going to go to João instead. But Sisi now has even more cool options available for her. So first of all, she could go over here for 4 points, cleaning off the city cap, or she could even go over here for 0 points, but sets up herself a move with the curve and just bet her entire game on the curve. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, so she's trying to decide, do we go over here and at the very least guarantee the invasion of one meeple, or do we try and wait for the curve so that we can make an efficient invasion? And, you know, I'm kind of inclined to think that maybe we want to get that curve because João is still ahead. Yeah, look at this. So 8 points behind is João. 7 points is this monastery, so that's already 1 point only missing. These here 2 cities are equalized. Sisi has 7 for these here cities, so João was -6. But João also has a 15-point field, so he's at +9. If this field is equalized, then João is still going to be at +6 because this farmer is only 3. Yeah, I think Sisi needs a curve. That's pretty much it. So I wouldn't bother going over here. I would either pre-build the road, which looks the most tempting, or go over here and score 4 points. It depends a lot on the remaining tiles in the deck, of course. And maybe I would have certain reservations about going over here for a couple of reasons, and my reservations are as follows. So let's say we go over here. Does this give back a field invasion platform back to our opponent? I'm trying to figure this one out. There should be a vanilla city cap, I think. Yeah, but then I was thinking that maybe like green could counter invade the farm. Oh, that's smart. Look at what Sisi is doing. She now is trying to get herself an alternative win condition. She's trying to set up herself the completion of the city with the last vanilla city cap. And this kind of forces João to make a decision. So whether either he goes here and tries to block the city cap, or he goes here and meeples this road, basically trying to take advantage from Sisi potentially drawing the curve, in which case Sisi would be forced to go here and give a meeple back to João, and then João might do something else. That's a difficult calculation here for João. If Sisi gets the city cap, this here move is going to be really a lot of points for her, and I think she's going to win even if she does not invade the field with both meeples. But she's still going to need to invade it with one meeple, of course. But then there's still the straight line for that, right? Yeah, okay, there we go. So that's why she gets blocked. She would have gotten the city cap, and she now finishes the city in what, for the moment, is João's field, but you and I know that the last tile is the curve, and Sisi has it in her hand. She's gonna go over here and take over this 12-point field from her opponent. It is going to be a plus 21, no, a plus 25 points move net. So minus 12 for our opponent, plus 12 for getting this field, and minus 3 for getting rid of this field. That is 21, and 4 points for the road with from meeple. That is 25. That's a 25-point swing. Well played, says João. And I have to say that this move was indeed wonderful, because even though it ended up kind of not working, it contributed a lot to Sisi's winning probabilities. Because let's say if she goes here and João gets a curve, then João can do something, but then basically Sisi, she created herself some winning opportunities for the situation where she doesn't draw a curve. Because then she can go here, drop a farmer like this, and on her last move with a straight line connect over here. So that was a clutch find. João with a 3-point move, which is the best he can find with a straight line. And yeah, very masterfully played endgame here from Sílvia. Especially this invasion to begin with, the doubling down, realizing when you need to risk hard. And that moment, of course, came after João won the coin flip for the monastery. And at the start, I was a bit skeptical because some Sisi's moves before in the opening were really not that strong. Like this here, meeple, obviously the big miscount over here, the blunder. But then she proved that imbalances are very powerful in Carcassonne. She did not bother attacking the field that her opponent had. In fact, this 15 points that green got control over very early in the game, that 15-point field, remained to be the most powerful feature, the most high-scoring feature in the game throughout the game. And then she just managed to leverage her meeple advantage to score points. Despite João being the first on the field, eventually she overtook it. It was a very interesting game. Also, there are some subtle moments, like this move in particular. Starting a new city in a counter field, the only square which accomplished this here purpose to basically create something comparable to the main field, far away enough that the two fields would not be united, with a meeple advantage, knowing that she would be able, with a high degree of certainty, to fight and win that field eventually. So, lovely decision so far, and we're just one game away from an upset. So João is now the starting player. He has scored 4 points for this here city, and Sisi now starts a new city cap on the other side of the field. And this is a interesting stylistic decision. So basically what it tells me is that she's being a rebel against Iberian culture here, choosing not to go for a field fight, not to go for a position which has all the city caps on the same side of the board, but rather a more diverse, more complex game where all 4 types of features will be equally important. Of course, the side effect is that she leaves the other city cap unobstructed for João to take, but hey, green has not yet drawn a city tile to do that. Sisi got herself the first monastery for 5 points, and João now needs to find... This move is fine, taking 2 points, restricting the city. This road, of course, is also restricted, but it is longer than the city. It has 2 segments, and the road could expand. So blocking this here square would be advantageous for green in the long term. And finally, João gets himself that city tile, scores 4 points, but so does Sisi. And it does create some farming opportunities at the back, which João is going to take advantage of immediately. Sisi is going to score 2 points at the bottom right now, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, leaving the city cap obstructed. Perhaps slightly imprecise, if you ask me. I would have preferred a slightly different move, 1 square to the left. There are some reasons for this as well. João now expands his field whilst also scoring a 4-point road, or at least attempting to score a 4-point road. And now we're going to see stacking, I presume. The standard move, of course, is to go over here with the straight line outwards and set up 2 new monastery spots that actually would be exceptionally powerful. Definitely good enough to counter the 4 points disadvantage on the scoreboard and the statistical disadvantage from not being the starting player. When I'm not the starting player, I prefer positions which are like a bit more complex, and I emphasize on scoring a little bit. And sure, she does stack. She goes for, I think, the slightly suboptimal but still playable variant. I can also understand her. The idea, of course, that she wants to have variety. She wants to have like field plus field squares here and field plus road here square, field plus road squares here. But the truth is that field plus field squares are so good at the beginning of the game that it is actually a good thing to have 2 of those next to your monasteries, despite it normally being a good thing to have variety. João takes 2 points, tries to now block this here square, and Sisi could defend. I don't think she has to, but she does. And if you do that, then I think as Sisi you drop a farmer or you meeple something. Yeah, I think saving the square was not that important, actually, because she's also obstructing her own monasteries. I know that it is unpleasant to be in a mini battle where you have just 1 point and your opponent has 4 points, but the thing is that your opponent already has the points, and you're not really going to change that. If you're going to finish the city, sure, you're going to get yourself a meeple back, but you're also going to give your opponent farming points, and you're going to give your opponent 2 road segments, so actually it might even be a net negative move for red if she finishes the city here. Sisi's setup has paid off in the meantime. She's building at the top, but João is now taking advantage of these here city tiles, building a wonderful city with shields. And Sisi's monasteries are now in trouble. The square is very, very blockable. In fact, Johnny could go here right now and restrict it towards a 50-50 monastery. I don't think he should do that. I think we can still wait for a better tile like a Rodorito and try to block it. I think as green, we actually go here and try to finish our city as soon as possible. Of course, there's the risk of our opponents invading, but the earlier we try to create the threat of completion for the city, the less likely it is that our opponent's going to have time to build around and create some blocking opportunities. And case in point, Sisi does not have any options here. She is forced to just dump the tile whilst also creating a blocking tile against the monastery. And green does not even bother defending, which I actually don't like. I think going over here should have been better. I think he's treating his meeples as a little bit too dispensable, if you ask me. But it is working for now, as he's 12 points ahead on the scoreboard. But not for long, though. Like, this meeple can be recovered. And I can certainly understand that in certain situations, you don't want to go out of your length, out of your... What's the expression in English? To go... You get this. So you don't want to make extraordinary efforts into protecting your meeples, but this was a rather low-value tile. It was okay to do that. In any case, Johnny now gets invaded, so Sisi averts a disaster. This city is not going to get finished anytime soon, and if it does, it is going to be shared in most likelihood, unless, of course, somebody draws the quadruple city tile and then reinvades the city on the left. Out of your way. Thank you, Glavier, for the expression. As you can see, my brain has still not returned to full functionality after yesterday. But somehow, at least, I can still count tiles. João. Now, with the second out of the 3 vertical dividers in the deck, is figuring out what to do. And I don't have good recommendations for him. Here we could go pressuring this square. I'm not sure how much I like it. But you know what? Had we protected our monastery, then we could have gone over here and started a new city, but that train has sailed. Did you hear what I said? Oh. Maybe it's a multi-purpose train with floatuses. Sisi protects her monastery, but at a cost. She spends a valuable shielded tile, and she also is leaving the city vulnerable. So much so that maybe if I were red, I would have chosen to just meeple it and bite the bullet regardless. It's not like it is possible to block this in one move, and João makes a move which I doesn't like. It is unambitious. I don't like this. I think it was better to go over here and claim that city, because now Sisi is gonna go over here and claim that city and try to complete it. No. What are you scared? What are you scared? Like, if you go here, it's not that easy to block that city. Okay, so she could have gone here. She would have, by the way, also secured her monastery. And then if Johnny goes here, then red can go here and even meeple the road if she so chooses, and then limits and then save the square towards a 75% chance of completion because there's still 2 daggers remaining. Yeah, both players are playing excessively conservatively around this here city area. I don't know, it's like both of them are sitting on a gold mine and not realizing that this is the case. Yeah, thank you, Glavier, for pointing out that this tube ended up restricting the field and actually costing João some valuable field points. On the other hand, maybe as green, you don't want to develop the field that much. you have enough on the scoreboard to sort of counter these monasteries. And maybe you just want to preserve this field as is and keep your opponent from invading it. That's also an option. Yeah, the whole concept of growing your field too much might sound like some sort of oxymoron, but it actually is true in certain positions. You don't want to grow your fields too big. You want to grow them big enough to win, and not more than that. Thank you, Nalaheim, for choosing stronger wording. With 4 meeples, not taking such a juicy city is insanity for both players. And I'm gonna even say that for João more than for Sisi. Okay, please do it now. Like, it's even if it gets blocked, it's 6 points and you have 3 meeples left. And you're gonna get 2 from your monastery. Like, don't go here. Please don't go here. I know she's tempted, but it's not a good idea to finish this city. She's still gonna have 2 daggers to do that later. 1 dagger. Okay, but it doesn't matter. This meeple does not matter. Like, if she goes here, that's a net -1 move. And she does this finally, and there we go. Her city might get blocked, but it is obviously still worth it. Alright, so better late than never. She now might regret it, but she shouldn't. She could go over here for an indirect defense. It's actually quite a potent indirect defense because we're running short on city plus road tiles, so blocking the square is not that easy. And you know what she could do? She could go over here and then get something like a regular Dorito and go over here and then restrict this square in such a way that would make it impossible to block this square and preserve both tiles unobstructed that are available to fit there. Oh! This actually might be even smarter. Is this smarter? Yes, it is smarter. That is such a good move. This move here from Sisi has the same idea as the thing that I was suggesting, but it leaves fewer opportunities for blocks for João. In fact, the only type of blocking tile remaining for that square is the horse tile, of which there's still 2 remaining. Only 2 remaining. And with the road Dorito, of which there are also 2 remaining, the only way how you can fit them is like this, which would be a defense, not a block. This move is only possible because we know that the starting tile has gone out, so there are none of those. That is really some amazing defense here from Sisi. So what does João do? I think at this point now we should prioritize gathering compensation. So maybe we go here and drop a farmer. Like, I think we should just claim this field at the top, actually as soon as possible. We cannot possibly allow our opponent drawing a dagger and getting herself this here city. A dagger she does not draw, and now this lovely, lovely defense is actually quite nice. I'm not sure if it was worth it to do that, because with only 2 blocking tiles, I guess it was worth it, yeah. So she takes away 2 blocking tiles. Now there's 0 blocking tile that fit into that square. And this here thing is perfectly unobstructed. João is now trying to score anything he can, starting a new city, cleaning off the city cap. Sisi now with a road tile can do several things. She can start a loop, which looks dangerous, but there are still 2 crossroads available. I wouldn't be too concerned. She could go over here for a 3-point farmer, and this in fact is my move of choice. Basically setting up not only the completion of this city, but also the connection to this field, and also an attack against this here guy. Oh yeah, this move actually makes more sense. But does she meeple the road or the field or anything for that matter? And I think she does. Because she has so many meeples, and even though she has only a 50-50 chance of invasion, I think she should place a meeple there. First of all, 4 points are not 0, and it's okay to have a semi-blocked meeple for 4 points, and she does this. And second, the way you make these decisions is you look at the position holistically, because now Sisi has set up for herself one more critical tile. So there are 2 tiles that go into this square and 1 tile that goes into this square, and all of them go for a lot of points. So that is the idea. And she does not have to draw all of them. I think she has to draw just really one of them. João now in trouble. He could go for more farmers, or he could go for a counter invasion of the road, which seems a bit crazy, which it is, but why not? We go here, we get a straight line, and then we get the dagger, and then we get an even longer road against our opponent. I think it is a bit extra, but it is certainly a lot of fun. Let me just refresh the page to see that João was still online, and yes, he is. He's thinking. Helge is saying green can win the longest road achievement here, and yes, he can. So JMargarido with some difficult decisions. Oh, you know what he could do? Of course, he could go for a loop, and I think this is one of his best moves available. He could go for the 6-point field too, just to not allow Sisi to take it, because she has an army of meeples ready for deployment in all kinds of locations. But I think our best 2 moves are either going here just for the sake of scoring, or going over here with the same idea. If we start a 4-point road, we have several tiles, 2 tiles that go here, and give us an opportunity to score a 5-point road in 2 moves. It is a little bit risky, but I want to prioritize scoring, and João chooses the move at the top, which I do like. Sisi now gets herself a monastery, and I see 2 moves. Since she has so many meeples, it's not crazy to go here for 6 points. And then basically equalize the monasteries, and then maybe even consider going over here for some invasions, either against the field or against the road. Another option is just to go here for a 3-point farmer, and then wait to connect through this here dagger. I'm not sure if it is right now, but at some point she should drop some sort of farmer. A very underrated move, and one which is in the process of now becoming my favorite, is going over here and meepling the monastery. Because it would become a 5-point monastery very quick. There is city cab that fits here. There is city cab that of course fits here. And I think the potential of the monastery, of a 3-point monastery, even in this position, even in 20 tiles remaining, should not be underestimated. But she goes to double down with a farmer, and basically she just needs this here tile. If she doesn't get it, she can, I guess, still win. If she gets this here dagger and maybe some city caps on the left to build up her field with green squares. Scoring tile for Sílvia at the moment, as João finishes a 4-point road. Probably here or here maybe. Since red still kind of has the meeple advantage. Ooh, that is risky. It's not bad though. But now that João has gotten the crossroads, it is going to cause him an ethical dilemma. Do you place the crossroads and divert the trolley? Or do you let this meeple get destroyed? let's think about this. So there's still 3 straight lines that go over here. That is not nothing. So João could ignore that, just score 2 points somewhere, and then try to go here and here for a block. And he chooses to do exactly this. He takes 2 points in a way which also restricts this here 6-point field. He really resents the idea of giving a meeple back to his opponent. Sisi now gets a monastery, and I think she should go here for 7 points and meeple it. It's going to be 8 points in all likelihood, and she's probably going to get a meeple back. And she would also actually be protecting this monastery. Oh, that's super important, because you know what? The reason why this move is dangerous is because, not because of the blocking opportunities on the right, but because of the blocking opportunities on the left. João now is not going to go over here to finish his city. He's going to block this 1-point meeple. Exactly. That's a nice find by João and a miss here by Sisi. If you're gonna do something like this, then, well, then you better not miss. But she finishes a city. And surges ahead on the scoreboard. Just please don't meeple anything. The field is actually not that bad. The road is obviously bad because this square is blocked, basically. But with the field, she can score points from this here city and from her opponent's city, and she can get a road monastery to get over here. This was actually not a crazy idea. In any case, she's ahead 11 points on the scoreboard. She's ahead on meeple still somehow, despite having 2 of them blocked over here. Johnny, though, with wonderful long roads and monasteries and fields, is still technically ahead in this game. It's an equalish position. A lot depends on whether this dagger is drawn. And also the road monastery is going to be a critical tile. I can see João maybe going over here at the moment, which would expand his city and create an opportunity to finish it and drop a farmer here. But then this would open farming opportunities in this here area for either player, or green could ignore cities and just go at the top and drop a farmer like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 curve remaining, and then 2 vanillas. It's sort of good enough. 1 road Dorito, 1 road monastery. Has several tiles that fit here for connection. Could be worth it risking for a 9-point field. Yep, and he does that thing over there. Continues his city. Sisi gets the dagger, equalizes the road. That is huge for her. And so João figures, yep, it's not good. Time to attack the field. 15 points is the lead for Sisi. This guy scores a comfortable 12 points, and there are barely any chances to invade. Unless Sisi goes here, for example, and drops a farmer like this and invades through a vanilla city cap tile. She chooses to do something similar, which I kind of like, actually. Trying to invade over here. And João now with a counter invasion. I love it. If red connects, then green is going to try and connect with back-to-back tiles. Of course, this move makes sure that green does not connect at the top just yet, but then again, there's still the last row Dorito available for that purpose, or the curve. And 1 more vanilla, I believe. Although it would be nice for green, of course, to use the last vanilla city cap over here instead. Or over here, setting up some blocking threats. Green is still absolutely in this. Well, actually, yeah, green is still ahead, actually. So, Sisi's gonna need to put her meeple advantage to good use, but the thing with hoarding her meeple advantage for so long is that you might have to resort to moves like these. She basically meeples a 3-point monastery just because she figures she's not going to have options too much better, and I am inclined to agree with her in this particular instance. So red had the majority on this here 12-point field. Green is threatening to invade with 2 more meeples, and statistically, in a position like this, I'm going to estimate that most of the time, 1 meeple makes it to the field, but not the other. Actually, now that I look at this, the chances at the bottom meeple looking quite good, as they're 3 straight lines still available somehow, so a double straight line combo could be here quite strong. Which now makes me think that João could come up with a crazy move like this, scoring -1 point by completing our opponent's monastery, and going here simply for the sake of drawing 2 straight lines. Or at least having the option to do so and taking out that farming platform. Honestly, I think that's the move. I know it's weird. I know we could just score 2 points here or 2 points here, but I think this is what you gotta do. You have to be kidding me. How did he find that? This is like such a weird move to make. I think it's really strong, as I told you why, but like it's such a weird move to make. Amazing, and with 10 seconds on his clock. Like, it's sort of one of those things which makes perfect sense once you see it on the board, but not the easiest move to pull the trigger on. And sisi now, of course, gonna block this farmer. But this move is still good, because at least it does not allow quick points. That's the thing. And technically, it's still possible for the green meeple to enter the field with a vanilla city cap and like some tiles over here on the left. Of course, it's going to be much harder. Sílvia now going to have it tough. Yeah, of course she blocks the field entry. João now needs to make a decision. Yeah, he chooses to take 7 points for his own field and invade at the top a little bit later. I like that decision. And I also like that he chose not this here city cap, because he would score only 4 points, because this here city is shared between 2 fields. And sisi, of course, gets herself one of the tiles that green needs, but green still has the last curve there. So just one more tile, though, for a 12-point connection. From red's perspective, I'm not sure what to do. Maybe we could... Can we construct a city? Hey, can we just go here? Yes! Hey, I don't think it's crazy. We go here for 3 points. Our opponent almost can never block because there are 3 straight lines remaining on the board. Then we get a straight line. We drop a farmer. And, like, we go here. We finish a star for 8 points. Because there's still 1 road Dorito available. sisi basically chose to just score 4. And this city, I don't think, is completable. Okay, João took a 5-point road. sisi gets herself a curve, which is fantastic for her. This here guy is permanently trapped. And the remaining tiles now, I believe, are a horse, a road Dorito, and a whopping 3 straight lines. What can we do with all of that? Well, first of all, we have to hope that our opponent does not get any more city tiles, because this is the only way for him to score. Helge was suggesting dropping a farmer here for João. No, because it was maybe blockable. That was the thing. Okay, so it's a great tile for sisi. Oh, she should now not go here. She should go here for the 6-point field. No, 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 no! No, sisi, miss. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Actually, it's going to cost her only 1 point, this mistake. But basically, she should have... I think she just missed the existence of the 6-point field that she should have taken. And instead of getting 7 points in 2 moves, she's going to get 6 points in 2 moves. So she made this 2-point move, 1 for the monastery, 1 for the city, and now she's going to make this move, which is 3 for the road, and 1 for the monastery. So that's 6 in total. So at least it's not a fatal mistake. But it seems to me that it is a problem. Okay, Sílvia, what are you doing? She took 3 points instead of 4. That was a massive, massive hallucination. And given how close the game was, I am now starting to get concerns that maybe stuff like this was game decisive. I was just so preoccupied counting points that I forgot about counting tiles. So sisi... Sorry, I meant the other way around. Sisi now with suboptimal play scores 2 points fewer than she would have. And it seems to me that it is not going to match her, as João is going to win by a couple of points anyway, right? Yeah, look at the 6th point for his field. Wonderfully played here for João. Sisi could have done only slightly better in the endgame. I think... Honestly, it's a crazy idea. It's a difficult idea to see, but I think like sisi should have just gone here and tried to get herself an 8-point city. And it's difficult to recognize that the city is nearly unblockable. That's the thing. It's quite difficult to recognize something like this. In fact, it was completely unblockable, if I remember it correctly. Well, it is what it is. It's almost an impossible win condition to find under time pressure. And it makes for an interesting match. Sisi is not going to win this duel just yet. Sílvia won, João won. We're headed into a decider. The other quarterfinal has now started. You can see the score probably somewhere on your screen. Okay, so Sílvia is the starting player here. She gets the first 4 points. Both players exchange road moves. Now João is going to start a new city, and now we're going to see also some stylistic differences. So some players are going to go here and drop a farmer, which is a legit move. And some players are going to go over here and start a new city like this. Basically, these are the 2 options. And João chooses a move which does not make sense to me. So he's going to go here and create a field, but not take it. But actually, the strategically better option, I'm going to reveal a secret. I'm going to tell you something that I've never told on this channel before. The better move was to go here and start a new city. And the reason for that is that João is not the starting player. And so he's going to have, for all critical situations, slightly lower probabilities throughout the game. And he's going to have a tougher time in the end game. And if you are the second player, then you want to avoid big features, big field fights, because you might find yourself in a situation where you need one particular tile. And as the second player, you're going to have lower probabilities for that tile than your opponent. So in the long term, if you're the second player, basically just like avoid big fields if you can. But this is, of course, not always true. You can sometimes play big field. Let's say if your opponent has a meeple blocked, then by all means do create a big field even if you're the second player, because the long-term meeple advantage is way, way, way bigger than the starting player advantage. So in any case, a field has been created and Sisi did claim it, and she is the statistical favorite to end up with that field. So far it is contained, and very nice here move from João, getting a second monastery in clusters. This was not a particularly nice move from Sisi. I did not like it at all. It limits the potential of her field, and it also gives back this monastery spot. Man, it's actually a rather big mistake. So I noticed also, interestingly, like the strengths of players, right? Because you can see that Sisi has clearly issues with opening theory and opening principles, but then towards the end of the game, like the field vision, the end game tactics are just absolutely amazing. So it is possible to be like very, very good at one component of the game and struggle with some others. Yeah, the better move, of course, was to go over here to get 1 point and pressure this here vulnerable meeple of green. Referring to the previous game, Glovier is saying there was one curve to block the 8-point city that I was suggesting, but the reason why I called that city unblockable is because indeed that would have been a Sophie's choice. João needed the curve to connect, and so he would not be able to block that city. And from our perspective, we actually have to assume that we draw the curve anyway, because if our opponent connects to the field, then we'll probably just lose. We're actually maybe not true. So we can talk about the situation a little bit later, but whilst João was thinking in this game where to place this clunky triple city tile, although I do have a good idea for him, I think we just go here. Really? Ah, that's fine. Yeah, he could connect to the city, that's also fine. But 1 point and trying to block your opponent is also nice. The one issue with this move is that it is now a bit harder for us to develop the monastery organically. We also take away triple stacking options like this from us, but I can certainly see that. It does pose some problems for this here green guy. For this here red guy, sorry, but now this green guy here is a little bit more vulnerable. A curve here from Sisi could significantly obstruct this here square. But back to the previous game, as both players seem to apparently be drawn to cows. The only tiles that keep drawing are cows and horses. So we have very animal-loving opponents today. This actually should create some blocking opportunities for the future, right? This meeple is now vulnerable. We could get a horse, go over here, block the square permanently. Sisi now is going to have her meeple restricted toward the starting tile. She gets a city cap just in time to continue growing her field, maybe like this, and pressure this here meeple. That would certainly be quite painful for João. Then we could go here, we could get a road, and this. Anyway, you know what? Okay, so let's just go back. I want to really talk about this. So the idea is this: we get ourselves the Dorito. We go over here. Let's say João gets a curve and connects, and now comes the true additional purpose of this move, because then we can get one of the 3 remaining straight lines, go over here, drop a farmer, and then connect through this city whilst completing that city. So in a way, that's a way to have a winning chance, even if our opponent gets a curve, because we say right back at you and invade. So that's why I liked this here idea so much. Alrighty. And look at this Sisi with a Dorito over here herself. Not that it is needed in this game. It's going to be needed in another game. She has her meeple here super vulnerable. João managed to protect her square. And red needs this tile in like 5 places. Option 1, we continue our city and we create some scoring opportunities. Option 2, we go here and invade the road / city every which way. Option 3, we do this, which I also quite like. It does indirectly protect our road. It does quite directly attack this here monastery, even though I wouldn't be too concerned about it if I'm green, because a city plus road tile is the rarest type of tile in the deck. Of course, there are quite a few of those still for blocking, but statistically, it's going to be a wait for sisi for a couple of moves. Oh, and option 4 was to go over here to try and restrict that city, but I can understand why she chose not to do that. It was probably not even the best move. And João actually with a nice move here, choosing to spend a monastery on blocking, which honestly respectable. This year Meeple's not going to come back. Johnny with a curve now going to go here. His goal is to basically guarantee protection to this square, right? And if red goes here, this leaves only 2 blocking tile for sisi, 2 daggers, which she already needs in 2 other places. He also chooses to meeple that road, and he's going to instantly regret, as sisi takes 2 points and kind of restricts that road meeple. I'm not sure. Regret maybe is going to be a bit of a too strong word, but maybe mildly annoyed. Johnny is now building his city at the top. Now it actually becomes a real threat. There are still 2 daggers and 3 rose tiles that fit into that square. He could actually do this and restrict himself to the 3 roses for an 88% chance, but it's not worth doing, and he recognizes it. This is a very strong move. It pressures this here square. It creates an attacking square over here. It forces sisi to probably go here and now turn this city into a long-term project. But it's a move which not everybody likes making. So I can see how she could prefer waiting for one of the 8 remaining Doritos and just hope to get something like this before her opponents can attack. But I like this idea because she can also use Doritos quite well. She can go here, and then set up the final tube like this. And this is really normally how you complete those cities. You go over here, you give your opponent 1 chance to block you, typically with a rather low probability. Your opponent does not draw a tile, you get another Dorito and cover up. Then if you do this, your opponent gets a city cap and tries to invade, and then you get the divider tile, bam, and then you like re-invade over here. Get a triple city, take that over. The latter scenario is actually quite unlikely in this game because we're running out of triple city tiles super soon. But these are all speculations. The true reality is that sisi has probably the most interesting tile she could have possibly drawn. She chooses to go over here for this here invasion, and this makes sense. Does not want to let her opponents complete this here city. Other options included completing her own city or going over here and blocking this here monastery. sisi gets the tube. A bit of an unusual order statistically, was actually quite improbable because there were so many road Doritos. But it's probably even better for her. She gave her opponent 1 chance to invade. Johnny didn't get the tile, and now he is having a lot of problems. Red is 1 tile away from completing a giant 26-point monstrosity. And there's really nothing much that we can do right now. In theory, we could go over here and try to create an attacking platform, but I think we get this here meeple back first. and then we try to go here later. Like, it's a tricky decision because this city is so impactful that we might want to wait. No, that we actually might want to avoid lating, and we try to block it at all costs. But I like Green's prioritization here because he figures that if he just gets the meeple back a little bit sooner and uses the tiles a little bit more efficiently, he can still win the game, even if Sisi completes her city. And Green is already 36 points on the scoreboard, 25 points ahead because he finishes at 10 points, or drops a farmer. This is actually an immensely interesting position because prioritization is going to be key here. For the last, like, 6 tiles or so, all of the tiles that were drawn by both opponents were kind of multi-purpose. The Dorito being needed by Margarito. Oh, Margarido with a Dorito. Look at this. Yeah, so the Dorito Margarito, which was needed in several places. Same thing for Sisi's dagger. I'm not a huge fan of what she's doing right now. She is increasing her field, which is good in the vacuum. And she's also creating pressure against this here square, which is not going to work right now. But by making this field bigger, she makes it more of an essential task to win this field eventually. Yeah, Johnny finishes a road, starts a monastery. But if I'm Sisi, before making the field attackable, I want to consolidate. I want to get a meeple back from this, and then she does. And a meeple back from here, which she might do soon. Very, again, super, super interesting. Johnny with multiple features completed over several turns, and Sisi with just one big city. Only -3 at the moment. Just a slight advantage for Green. Red does enjoy a bigger field because Green still technically has not invaded at the bottom. What does Green do here? If I'm João, I'm probably a bit concerned about fields. So I might just chicken out and invade right now. Meeple the city cap, perhaps leave it open. Both options are kind of fine. Or I might go here and drop a farmer like this, try to invade through one of the 2 monasteries, or at least not allow my opponents invading here through a curve. João chooses to meeple the city cap, which makes sense. Sisi is going to score some points here. There are some interesting invasion opportunities from this here area. Like, say, if we get the last horse tile, drop a farmer here, then we get a curve, connect like this. Could come in handy closer to the end. Green also scores. The city now becomes too big to lose. You know how some banks are too big to fail? Some fields are too big to lose. So this means that both sides are going to need at least equality on the field in order to win the game. And whoever has more on the scoreboard will have the advantage because they need only equality and they don't have to win it necessarily. But I don't see either side winning fieldless here. Well, maybe. Maybe there's a potential counter field at the top. But because the scoreboard is even, I don't quite see all these full 18 points from the field and potentially even 21 or even more being compensated. And João does invade. Great tile for Sisi. Finally, she gets herself a meeple back. Just don't meeple the road. Not worth it. She thinks better of it. Oh, and a city cap from João. Could be used here to invade, but I think it's not worth it. I think we just get a meeple back. Ideally, we wait for a monastery or we get one more vanilla city cap tile like later when we are more consolidated. I like the patience here from green. Red still has a lot to do. She could go here perhaps or here, try to develop her monastery. Maybe all these actions are a little bit too slow, but it makes some sense. Maybe not like that exactly. Because getting a meeple back is not super important. What's more important is to create more field attacking platforms and try to drop meeples. And João finishes a shared city and drops a farmer. And also extends his road. Sisi gets a crossroads and a dilemma. The more natural move, of course, is to go over here. Take 3 points, try to block. But then in some situations, it gives our opponent additional invasion options, so go figure. We could also go here, try to set up some invasions through this here area. Now that I think about this with this here tile on our last move, we could have gone over here and tried claiming this here field at the top. In fact, I think that this is what we should have done. We can ignore the points here and try to equalize the top field. Or we could try and go here and connect to this here meeple. But I think because she's behind on the scoreboard and because green has these extra farmers, she might not be able to outscore green. She might need to just drop not 1 but 2 more farmers. She takes the 3 points, which makes a lot of sense. Now several options there for Johnny. Option 1 is to take the points back. Option 2 is to go here to create a connection with a straight line circumventing this monastery square. This is why invasions through monasteries are so powerful, because it is so difficult to block them. Your best hope is typically just drawing all the monasteries yourself, because as soon as your opponent places pretty much anything in this tile, except it's something like a horse, yeah, your opponent can do something like this and even circumvent the monastery square and not even have to draw it. But Sisi gets a curve. And she might score some more quick points, setting up some attacking opportunities through a ninja farmer. She might choose to go over here herself straight away. Or here, dropping a farmer like this. Many options for her. She can also go and drop a ninja farmer like this. And actually, she could have done so on the last turn even. I hadn't even seen that opportunity. Of course, risky, but if successful, she's going to get herself a 4-point road as well. Still thinking with that curvy tile. She does go for the farmer and decides to forego the 3 points. Johnny probably going to connect to the field, I assume. Or maybe now he doesn't have to. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was thinking going here. Trying to block that connection, but it doesn't quite work. So maybe we just still wait for the monastery. Maybe we go here and finish our road and get a meeple back. Maybe we go here and block our opponent's monastery for some reason. Maybe we go here, but we don't meeple the 2-point road and we meeple the 4-point road instead, forcing our opponents to maybe get a crossroads, connect here, and give us a meeple back. Yeah, one thing with going over here is why I have reservations about this, because it gives back this 9-point monastery spot, which Sisi could take. She could take the 9 points. She could invade, take the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's actually only 1 curve remaining. That is also quite interesting. And this curve could go here even. So if Sisi managed to deny the entry to this farmer, and if this square gets blocked, she could just invade the top farm instead for a couple extra points. She could even go here and drop a farmer perhaps and get a curve later, but of course the crossroad tiles is not what she has. Yeah, look at this. And João chooses this here, invasion, which I quite like. It has many ideas behind this, of course. The first idea is, as I said, if Sisi gets herself the last crossroads, she can go here, and then she'll be forced to invade, but also give a meeple back to green. Also, if she does that, green has a curve to go over here, which she can use to invade all the way like this and reclaim the majority on the field. And also, remember, what did I tell you about this here horse tile and how we can use it as a field connection platform? I think this is the time. I think this is one of our opportunities. It is a low prop connection because it is blockable, of course. Actually, is it? No, it's not blockable. It's just a normal 50-50. If our opponent gets the crossroads here, of course, they can score a 5-point road and block us regardless. Very, very interesting. We can also go here, score 2 points, set up a attacking platform at the top. But I like this. Sisi goes for it. She's going to drop a farmer right here. 50-50 situation. Completely unblockable. João doesn't have anything he can do except, of course, going over here. Yes, making sure that she needs the curve in 2 spots, not 1 spot. I have no idea what to do as red right now. She actually needs a bit of a miracle, if I'm completely honest. Do we just score points over here? Maybe. 4 points are 4 points are 4 points. And then if our opponent gets some sort of blocking combo, maybe we can reinvade, I don't know. Like through another curve. Yeah, she just takes points. João gets 9 points for the monastery, which might as well be the game-winning move, but maybe not so fast. Because Sisi is going to go here, she is going to connect. This connection will be blocked for her, unfortunately. But maybe she can open another one. The reason why she hasn't done yet, she's counting daggers, basically. She's trying to check if there's anything that fits here or here, but the answer is no, there are no daggers remaining. Quadruple tile for Johnny. He could go here and just meeple this ruin straight away. because he's ahead on the scoreboard. He has an extra field and an extra road as well. He is going to win this game unless Sisi wins herself the field, but it is very difficult to do. 2 of the remaining tiles are crossroads, which sounds nice for scoring moves, and I'm talking, of course, about the rose tiles, right? So 5 points can be scored, but it is not quite enough for Sisi, and these tiles are not particularly good for invasions because we don't have any curves left. No curvy tiles of any kind. I'm actually struggling to see how she's going to set up an invasion in the first place. I see something. Maybe she can go here. With what, though? But basically, there's this idea. Potentially, it might just be a little bit too slow. Wait, or something here, maybe? I think I see it. I think I actually see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, there are no straight lines. What are we supposed to do here? Like, is there anything? Maybe? Okay, so at least one setup that I see is that we go here. Then we hope that our opponent just doesn't notice anything. And we get ourselves a rose. We drop a farmer, then we get another rose and we invade. Instead, Sisi just takes 6 points, which makes a lot of sense for her, but then I just don't see how she's going to invade the field. And she absolutely has to. Yeah, she also had time trouble, unfortunately, so it's kind of makes sense for her to have made this move. Oh, and look at this. Johnny just getting himself a meeple back. I didn't see that coming. So the vanilla cap was one of the available tiles. I'm not sure what the other one is. But yeah, there's one more rose, of course. And... oh, a Dorito. A Dorito, yeah. Yeah, Sisi is trying her best to just score a little bit, but it's not going to work. And the rose is even drawn by Johnny, who's going to score not 6, but 7 points. 4 points on his CE. 3 points on his field. 4 ruin points for Sisi. And João Margarido, in a very double-edged game, manages to get the best of his expert's opponents. Grandes jogos, na verdade, João. Sisi saying congratulations. João is saying that it was very, very hard, and I think this time it is actually sincere. He's saying, I always have difficulty against you. You are my nemesis. And yeah, I believe that João was close to losing in the previous game. This game also, a win by only 13 points, despite being at some points down on this field. Not really sure what Sisi could have done there. Maybe some miraculous invasion setup. Like, there wasn't anything to do that she could have actually helped. Like, there wasn't anything realistic, I think, but maybe some sort of shenanigans, like something had to be there. Okay, let me try and think a little bit. So, Road Dorito, what do we do? Nope, I think there's nothing. I mean, there's this idea, of course, of going here and then getting these here tiles, but it's just so easily blockable, and like your opponent is not stupid. Yeah, João is saying that she made some excellent moves, especially in the first game, and I have to agree with both parts of this statement. Oh, in particular, he's saying that she has made some excellent moves which he didn't see. The same is true for me. Like in game 1, for example, there was this wonderful idea of double threat with this here move over here, allowing sisi 2 critical tiles for winning, either getting the city cap or getting the curve for blocking. So it shows a quite deep understanding for endgame, where it is not about particular features or points, where it is simply about probabilities in critical tiles. Regarding the last position, Craft Giraffe is saying if she gets this here tile earlier. Oh yeah, João was not getting meeple back. Oh, that is true. So let me think about this. Okay. So then we score 5 points, which is actually 4 points because our opponent meepled this. Our opponent gets 7 points fewer because this here sequence was 8, right? Actually, no. Our opponent gets, let's say, 6 points fewer. So we lose by 7. And we score 4 instead of 2 on the penultimate move. Yeah, we still lose. We still lose because we scored 2 more. We lose by 5. I think it was really either field or nothing. And with the last tiles, it was just not possible to invade. Alrighty, but you know what we have? We actually still have the second semifinals. So, Licinio Fereira is going to try represent the underdogs today. Oh, but these have already concluded in way too little time, as Ricardo Araujo was able to defeat Licinio twice. So no surprises today. Sílvia did come quite close, but it is going to be João Margarido and Ricardo Araujo in the semifinals. Actually, what a duel as well. And also all the usual suspects in the other branch. Now, I'm not going to be able to stream it due to the times tomorrow, but you can go to Ultimate's channel and try to watch. There's going to be a broadcast there. All the links are going to be on the Carcassonne GG website. This, of course, is a banger. Guilherme Neves against Afonso Cavaco is going to be fantastic. Foam against Mestre also should be quite interesting. Yeah, the finals and the bronze medal match, like with one of these versus one of these, should be very watchable. Alrighty, that should be enough. These matches I will do my best to stream. I'll stream at least 2 of them, maybe even more. I'll try to do every one, but it depends on the scheduling a lot. So that should be enough for today. Just the usual reminders. Hi, João. Congratulations for your win. Some spectacular moves from both sides. I know sportr is playing way too fast, but I guess you can't blame him if he's winning. So then what we're gonna do, yeah, make sure to meeple the like button if you like this video and subscribe for more competitive Carcassonne content like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.